Hello, everyone. I'm your English teacher for this period. My name is Daniel Appel. I was just waiting to make sure I got the okay to start the presentation, so sorry about the wait. Um, Before we get started, if you all could just introduce yourselves, just say your name in English and say hello, that'd be really cool. If the teacher assistant who is here would like to maybe just call on them on the students to introduce themselves, then we could do that, and then we can get started with the presentation right after.
Okay. So we have to introduce ourselves first.
Yeah, just say your name, say hello, that's it.
Okay, cue the students. 那我们就先请北投国中玲珑，现在自我介绍一下。
Hi, I'm Kiki. Hi.
介绍一下你的学校啊，简短的再多一点。
I came from Bethel Junior High School. And
Nice to meet you.
百灵的成语，请自我介绍一下。
Hello everyone, my name is Angel. I'm from Bailing Junior High School.
Okay, next one，百灵的雨涵。百灵的雨涵。Hello.
Hello.
Don't be shy. Introduce about your school.
I am from Bailing Junior High School.
Is that all? Okay. Oh, let's start from the next one. 一山100的一山。
Hello everyone, my name is Eva. I'm from Bailing Junior High School.
Okay. And 华兴的，那我们就请子轩。
Hi, my name is Debbie. I'm from Huaxing Junior High School. I'm glad to be here. Hello.
Good. 那请问华兴那个少芳有来了吗？子轩，少芳有出现了吗？
没有。
没有哈。好，那没关系。那我们再来就请石牌的芷萱，苏芷萱。
Hello everyone, my name is Polly and I'm from Shipai Junior High School.
Next one，石牌的瑞安。
Hello everyone, my name is Angel. I'm from Shipai Junior High School.
石牌的哲瑞。
Hello everyone, my name is Jerry. I'm from Shipai Junior High School.
And next one，石牌的子源。
Hello everyone, my name is Orion. I come from Shipai Junior High School.
Okay, and let's welcome 卫理的庭园。
Hello everyone, my name is Angelina and I'm from Wesley Girls High School.
Okay, 卫理的天意。
Hello, my name is Grace and I'm from Wesley Girls High School.
Good， 那我们就全部都介绍完。All of the students have introduced themselves.
Okay. Thank you all for saying your names and giving your greetings for today. So now we can begin the presentation. I hope you all learn something new and enjoy. Okay, so can you all see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So the topic for today is American sports and the culture of these sports and what it looks like over here. Once again, my name is Daniel, and I may ask for some feedback a few times, and maybe if just a few people could answer any questions. And if you have your own questions, then there will also be a time at the end of the presentation where I will ask, and you guys can say any questions that you have, and I'll try my best to answer them. So just to get started, I'm going to do a little overview of what we're going to be talking about today in this presentation. So we're going to be talking about 4 major sports, that being American football. So I know you guys, I think it's called football over there, soccer, but we call it soccer over here. So we're also talking about soccer and basketball and baseball. Those are the 4 main sports we'll talk about. We're going to also talk about what they look like in the regular season. That includes outside of school. What do the normal teams look like? And then what does traveling and tournament gameplay look like? We'll also talk about the in-school teams and what the sports look like at the college level. And the final thing we'll cover for each sport is the professional season, what time of year it takes place, what does it look like, and what is the biggest event that happens over here for each of these sports. So before we get started on American football, I'd like to ask if 3 people could share what their favorite sport is and why. And if you want to just maybe pick 3 students to answer the question, then you could go ahead and do that.
Any student want to share about your favorite sport? Basketball, volleyball? Any student? Volleyball and basketball is very popular in Shipai Junior High School. Okay. 请子轩.
My favorite sport at school is volleyball because our school have a competition, and my volleyball is kind of good. So every day, every time after school, I will practice with my friends.
That's good.
Anyone else? Oh, let's welcome Zixuan.
My favorite sport is badminton because I like a game during 2 people or not many people.
So badminton is your favorite?
Right.
Okay. Anyone else? Badminton, volleyball? Teenagers? Most of teenagers like basketball. Is it true? Jerry, 要不要讨论 ？No。子源呢？那卫里的庭园跟天意呢？
Actually, I
hate sport. I don't really play any sports, so maybe you can ask Grace, Tianyi.
I think I don't like sport too.
Because there are more girls in our group. So they may like other kinds of sports more.
Okay, yeah, that's totally fine, you know. You don't have to like sports, and one of the things we'll be talking about in this presentation is more of just what happens in the sports entertainment-wise rather than gameplay. So hopefully you whenever someone brings up the topic of sports, you'll know what they're talking about even without knowing how the game is played. But thank you all for your feedback. So we'll get started on our first topic, which is American football. So I will explain what this is. I'm not going to be explaining the other sports because I'm assuming you'll probably know about the other sports a little bit more. And football is more of something that is only really popular here, as far as I know. So it's very similar to soccer. There are two teams, and it's about maybe around 10 people on each side. And the goal is to get the football, which is the oval kind of diamond shaped ball, to each side. So there's two zones, one on either side. And if you get it to that zone, then you score points. There's also the big, it's like a Y shaped goal, and teams can kick the ball into those goals to get additional points. So just a very simple overview. That's how the game is played. And we're going to start with the regular season. So the regular season here has ages from 5 to 18 when you become an adult, and they are city based or near city based. So this means that the kind of people you would play with are people from your city or people from the nearby cities. And it's really more about just learning how to play and having fun. So if you wanted to get started by playing football, this is where you'd go. You'd go to just a regular kind of season team and you would play games with them. Then you have the travel and tournament teams. These are multi-city or state-based. So the kind of teams you'll play at this level are teams that are from cities that are further away, or you might even travel to another state in America to play against teams over there. So it's a higher level of competition. It's more about the experience, getting to feel what it is at a higher level. You compete against people who are even better at the sport. It's really fun. Then you have high school teams. They're not too big on teams in middle school, and there's basically no teams in elementary school for schools. But for high school, they do take it very serious, and they play against other schools. They have tournaments, and they have playoffs. So I think it's very similar to what they have in Taiwan. And then you have the college level, which is one of the even higher competitive level than in high school. And the reason for this is because it's a gateway to professional leagues. So if people want to be a professional in the sport, college is their way of getting to there. It's how they get noticed, and it's where they show off their skills or try to hone their skills so that they can just try to be as good as they can. And a few other things about the sport is it's mainly played by guys. It's a very aggressive sport in how it's played, so it's not as popular with females, and it makes sense. There's also private clubs and teams. Those are very competitive, and it's not really about having fun at that level. It's more about how good can you get at the sport, and it's for people who are very serious about the sport. So I'm not too knowledgeable about them as much as regular seasons, but I know people are more into that, and that's okay. It's a great way to get better at the sport. And now, moving on to the professional season of American football. So the professional league over here is called the National Football League, or the NFL for short. It begins in September and then it ends in January, where they have their tournament playoffs. So for the professional season, teams all across the country will get together and they'll play different cities, different states, all on television, eventually leading to the Super Bowl. So the Super Bowl is the biggest event of the football season and probably one of the biggest sporting events here in America. It's very competitive. It's only the best of the best get to play against each other. It's very entertaining. So they do a lot to make it fun to watch, even for people who don't like sports. A lot of people tune in to watch it. So even when I was in school, people would always be talking about the Super Bowl, whether or not they play sports. They don't even know what is happening in the game. It's just about getting together. People like to party, and they have other things that make it interesting, like the halftime show. This is when famous people or entertainers will show up, and they will um, do some kind of performance in the middle of the game. So that lets all the players take a rest. And then there's creative commercials that go on. So they're always very funny, very entertaining to watch. People love to talk about the commercials, sometimes more than the game itself. But this allows everybody to tune in, and it's probably one of the reasons why football is so popular over here is just because of this event and how many people tune in to watch it. So the next topic is basketball. Now, for basketball, the regular season, same age group, ages 5 to 18. It is, in regular season, less competitive than other sports and more about learning and having fun. This is probably because at a higher level, it becomes more about how tall you are sometimes. So if you're not very tall, you it's just about having fun when you can. And the travel and tournament seasons are the same as before, so they're multi-city based. You play against other cities, you play against people in other states. It's more competitive than the regular season. In high school, now high school, you get to see a big jump in how competitive the players get and how good players are. People become a lot more serious about the sport. Height does play a big factor. All the time I see the basketball team and they're just a bunch of giants walking around. They play against other schools and they usually play inside of a gym. At the college level, again, it's very competitive and it's the next step for anybody who's in high school playing. And I think a lot of people who tend to play on the basketball team in high school will just go into the college level, and it's a lot of a smoother transition than for football. So for football in high school, they'll pretty much allow anyone for the most part to be on the team, but at college they're a lot more selective. Whereas for basketball, most of the people are already selective for high school. Yes, is there a question? No? Okay. Um, Again, it's a gateway to professional leagues. So basketball is mostly guys over here still, but there are a lot of professional female teams as well. And there are professional or female teams in high school too. So it is a bit more of a multi-gender sport. And there's still private clubs and teams just like before. Now for the professional league, it's called the National Basketball Association or the NBA. It begins in October and it ends in June. Teams will play across the country, but this time it's divided by the east and the west sides. So the east side teams will play against each other, and then the west side teams will play against each other. And the biggest event for basketball is the NBA Finals. Here, the best teams from the East and the West will go against each other to see who's the champion of the league overall. So now for baseball, you have the regular season, ages 5 to 18, But the difference here is that even in regular season, it's a very competitive sport over here, and a lot of outside training is expected and mostly required. Very early on, you get to go against players who are a lot better and a lot more experienced, and that's because they do things like getting trainers to tell them how to throw the ball, how to hit the ball, how to do anything really. You have travel and tournament teams, but it's almost like an extension of regular season, and it's because it's still very competitive. So it's almost as if the season never ended with those teams. You have high school teams, which have been normally more competitive than regular and travel teams, but in this case, they're about the same again. They are very selective about who gets to be on the team, and they are always at a very high level of gameplay. Now, college level is they're very intent on trying to be as good as it can be because a lot of professional people will scout teams, as they call it. So they will watch these college level games and then they'll look for players who are really good at throwing the ball or they just get a lot of hits constantly. So people are always on the lookout for the next big baseball player on their team. So it's very competitive at the college level. And I have seen a lot of both females and males playing this game, so it's more of a gender inclusive sport than the previous two, at least over here. And now for the professional season, it's called the Major League Baseball (MLB). Begins in early April, ends in early October. So you might have seen the trend that these seasons don't quite happen at the same time, and this is so a few reasons. It's so that people can watch the different sports and they don't have to choose between one or the other. And it's also so that the players don't have to play in the middle of summer when it's really hot or in the winter, like maybe January or just end of December when it gets really cold either. And then they eventually end off with spring training. So even though it's called the Major League Baseball, there's two main leagues that happen, and those are the American League and the National League. And teams will play for both of these leagues, eventually leading to the World Series. This is the biggest event for baseball, where the best team from each league, kind of like basketball, where you had the East and the West, will play against each other in the championship. And it's not as big as the Super Bowl is, but it is bigger than the basketball event, mainly because it's its own separate thing. So a lot of people tune in to watch it, and I have seen a lot of people talking about it during school as well. So it's a very popular event, even for people who don't normally watch or play baseball. Now, finally, we have soccer. Regular season has people who are ages 5 to 18. It's very similar to the other sports. You play people in your city or around your city. It's not as competitive as baseball or football. It's very fun just learning how to play. Now, the difference is there is a big jump when you go to travel and tournament teams. It's a lot more competitive. There are a lot better players, and it is a fun experience to get to see just how different it is. And high school, very similar to travel and tournament teams, are almost at the same level, really. And many people have to choose between one or the other. They don't want people to do both for some reason. They just want you to be committed to one. But either one is fine, really. And you have the college level. And for college, it's not as direct as a high school to college. You could only do travel or tournament teams your whole life and then go straight to college level and it's fine. So it's again highly competitive. And people usually try to go to professional leagues from here or they'll join private clubs and teams. These are a lot more popular in soccer because from here people can go to the professional leagues a lot easier. And again, there are professional teams for all genders for soccer. The major league is called the Major League Soccer. It's the main professional league for soccer. Begins in February, ends in October. So this is more of the spring, maybe early summer kind of season. So for America, the biggest thing or the biggest event is the World Cup. And you might have heard of that because players from all around the world compete with each other. So even though this isn't only in America where it happens, it's still the biggest event for people here to watch. So I would say it's maybe around as popular as the Super Bowl, and that's because unlike the Super Bowl where it's just one big game, for the World Cup, people watch all the games or a lot of them, and they like to see, which team is going to win, which countries are going to make it to the final game. So it's more of a fun adventure rather than just making it that one game that people get to see. But it's definitely one of the most interesting sporting events because of how big of an event it is, happening only every 2 years and having so many good players from different countries compete against each other. And finally, just a recap summary of what we talked about. So for American football, one of the biggest American sporting events is called the Super Bowl. The National Football League is the name of the professional league there. For basketball, the biggest event is the NBA Finals, and the National Basketball Association is their professional league. For baseball, the biggest event is the World Series, and the Major League Baseball is the name of the professional league. And then for soccer, the biggest event is the World Cup, and the professional league over here is called Major League Soccer. And that's it for the presentation. I hope you all enjoyed learning a little bit more about what the sports culture is like over here. Did anyone have any questions that they wanted to ask about any of the sports or ask me about anything?
I want to know, is there any girls group in high school have some conversations about sport?
Yeah, there's actually a lot of girl sports teams, and people who are on those teams usually talk about it. Like my sister, she plays soccer, and she's on a
Oh, cool.
on a female team. And I had friends who were on female basketball teams. They played baseball also, but they usually call it softball instead. But it's the same thing, yeah.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
Okay, teacher, someone asked you what is your favorite sport?
My favorite sport would probably be soccer. I played soccer for many years since I was 5 till around I was 19. So yeah, I don't know. I always liked playing soccer just because it's really constant. You always get to be doing something, whereas other sports, sometimes you have to wait for something to happen. So, and I knew a lot of people when I played soccer, and when you play for that long, sometimes you get to see the same people and a lot of the teams, and so it's fun to get to play with your friends that you've known for a long time. I think that's one of the things I like the best about it.
Excuse me, is badminton popular there in your country? Badminton.
I would say badminton is probably not as popular here as the sports I talked about today, but there are definitely professional teams for it, and there's still a lot of groups for it too, but not so much here in Southern California where I live. So probably more in other states is where it's like more popular.
Okay, thank you. Any question?
No.
Okay. So thank you all for your feedback and your responses and questions. I really enjoyed getting to listen to all of that. And sorry I saw your chat a little bit late because I can't see the chat when I'm presenting it. It's a little weird. But I would like to ask, out of the 4 sports that we talked about today, or that I talked about today, which one did you all find the most interesting and why? And if anyone wants to volunteer to answer that question, go ahead. Which one you like the best?
Okay, you can all the students can share about other sports here. Excuse me, is dodgeball popular in your country? Because dodgeball is very popular in our elementary school student.
Yeah, dodgeball. We play it. We did play it a lot in elementary and middle school as well. I don't think there's any. Or there might be some professional teams, but it's a lot. It's definitely more of a small thing. But in schools, yeah, people play it all the time, and I played it all the time. In people, if you could ask anyone that I know, they'll tell you I'm like the best dodgeball player they've ever met. So it's just one of those things. And we also have certain areas you can go to, like Sky Zone, and it's a place where it's full of trampolines, and you can bounce around, and you can also play dodgeball on trampolines, and it's a really fun experience that we have over here.
Okay, and besides balls, you can share about other sports like swimming, running, anything is okay. Students, you can share your experience. It's a good chance to speak English here. Okay, Zixuan.
I love swimming in summer, but because of COVID-19, I cannot swim for a long time.
Zixuan says she likes swimming, but because
Yeah, they actually have swimming teams over here as well. So we have at my high school they had a pool, and then both the boys and the girls teams would go there and they'd swim, and they also play water polo. So they would do swimming and then go into water polo right after. So it's a very tough sport. You have to use a lot of muscles in your body to do it. So I'm glad that you enjoy swimming. It's definitely one of the harder ones to do.
I'm curious about that. The college student you in California will always play their online games on cell phone, or they always go outside to do some sports.
Well, I'd say there's probably a lot more people now who are playing games online than going out doing sports, especially when you get older, because people who are doing sports in college are a lot more serious about it. And usually it's like I would say it's in 2 groups. You have the group that's dedicated to doing sports, and they talk about it and they'll go out and they'll play it on their own time. And then you have the group that's more distant from sports, so they're not doing sports, and in that case, they'll be the ones who are most likely just playing games instead.
Okay. Any experience to share?
I want to ask a question. Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is swimming a popular sport in America?
Yeah, it is. I'm not too sure if there's really big swimming teams. There's big water polo teams because it's more of a competitive sport with team based, so there's more people. But there's definitely a big swimming group too, because I know at least in the Olympics, there's a lot of professional swimmers from here that are really good and that win a lot of gold medals. So I'm pretty confident that it is a big sport, and they have it at high schools too. So they also teach it at a young age for a lot of people. So a lot of people get into it very early as well.
Thank you.
那雨涵，我们还剩1分钟就要换组了。
One day I play badminton with my sister in the park, and we don't even have a net. She stands too close, and I can't even hit the ball. But my mom say she's winning 'cause she's younger. And I was so mad, and that's it.
Yeah, I guess some in that case, at the end of the day, you'll just have to enjoy the fact that you got to play, win or lose. But that it sounds like something that'll happen a lot, especially if I play against my sister when I was younger, and my parents would be like, go easy on her, don't go too hard because I'm a guy and I'm older. So but you know in your heart that you won. That's what's important.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. It's time to change groups. So you have
Yes.
to. Okay.
Thank you all for having me.
Thank
It's
you.
nice to talk to all of you. Your English is all really good. Hope you enjoy your next presentations. Goodbye.
Okay, goodbye.